So Sheila came into my Manhattan office wheeling a suitcase full of records and brought two very sickly looking animals in to see me about 2 years ago. Um, Diablo was in terrible shape. He was a standard poodle and he had a litany of problems. He was Addisonian. He had had an Addisonian crisis where he had collapsed and he had major surgery where they biopsied every organ in his body. He had inflammatory bowel disease and he was basically skin and bones from the chronic diarrhea that he had. He couldn't digest his food. He was on lots of medications, including high doses of prednisone for the Addisons, and it made him ravenous and hyper and crazy. And he was eating socks and underwear and shirts, and thank God he didn't need surgery for it. He was passing it, but he was hunched over in terrible shape. Um, he also had another major problem. He had what's called Onchyodystrophy, and what that means is all his nails became infected and had fallen out. He was on antibiotics and for years and steroids, and I mean, I honestly had never seen a dog with so many problems at once. And I have to say, it was a little daunting. To She was practically in tears in my office. I was like her last hope. And but when I see an animal, I spend about an hour and a half with each animal, and as I listened to her description of his mental emotional makeup and got rid of all the diagnoses and all the testing. I mean, she had piles of records of what antibiotic and what infection and what blood test and all this stuff. And I when I cut to the chase and really get to the core of the animal, I realized this was really a simple case. This dog, which had so many problems, was just a very sensitive, a very sensitive dog.
I met Marcie 2 years ago when I was at a breaking point. I have a poodle, a standard poodle. He fell ill, he nearly died, and had to have surgery. And prior to that, he also had another autoimmune disorder where all of his nails became infected, the nail beds became infected, and all of his nails fell off. His anal sac had both ruptured. He was so thin, and this is all prior to his Addisonian collapse, so he was in really bad shape. And he had surgery, so they didn't really know what was wrong with him. And so they biopsied all of his organs. So, of course, that was so much stress on his body. He was in intensive care for a week. He came out of the hospital and had to go right back, and it was back and forth and back and forth, and it was so sad. His coat was dry, and all these experts and the board certified this and that. Oh no, his nails will never be normal. They'll always be disfigured. No one ever talked about a cure. It was just to manage with steroids, and then he was a mess. And so when I took a rolling briefcase like a litigator uses full of medical records and brought him to Marcie, actually, my other dog had issues for the first time, so she came as well. And so her having her issues for the first time, and Diablo, I walked into her office a complete wreck. I had studied homeopathy enough to recognize that the questions that she was asking and her observations and the prescription that she gave him, it gave me hope when I had no hope. Well, not me, I mean for my dog. And, I've seen every specialist and everyone said, no, I never saw this autoimmune disorder with this autoimmune disorder and all these problems. And
it just seemed hopeless. And even I had felt like I had given up on homeopathy, even though that's what I believe in. And Marcie restored my faith. The outcome has been so remarkable. It's almost like you have to see the dog to believe the results. And now his nails are normal. They're fine for any dog, no less a dog that had the disease to that extent. And he doesn't really take steroids. He's happy. He's playful. He's loving. And, you know, all the things that were not supposed to be possible, right?
Yeah. I mean, it has been quite remarkable with this dog because every remnant has really worked with him.
Yes.
And, you know, I work very intuitively, and I don't know what it is. I think because Sheila is so in tune with her animals, and she's able to articulate so well how they are emotionally. I think that's really what gives me the clues. So I always tell people we're a team.
Yes.
Because, I mean, honestly and truly, I mean, I have to say I've been treating Sheila's 6 animals now for 2 years, and I can't claim that I've had such amazing results with everybody all the time as I have with Sheila's animals. And I think it's because you really understand your animals. And having that background in homeopathy certainly helps. But everything's been really magical, I agree.
Yeah, and the one thing I appreciate about, especially with working with him, and he's so sensitive, that when he has strong reactions to everything.
Yeah.
So it's great when I call that you're always available, always get back to me, always work with me, and don't dismiss what I'm saying about, you know, because you recognize the importance of
The subtlety.
of the subtlety, exactly.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, I think that's why we're a team. As I say to people, we have to be part of a team. We recognize homeopathically that the symptoms are just an expression of an inner imbalance. We got to get to the root of the problem and rebalance the dog and not just give antibiotics. In fact, I never use antibiotics,
Right.
rarely ever. We don't need them because homeopathy just strengthens the immune system where it fights off the bacteria on its own rather than using artificial, dangerous pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, and also that it's so dynamic. You know, none of the animals are ever in a static.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's never static. They're changing all the time, and you know, and to appreciate. I mean, that's just such a difference between prescribing like one-size-fits-all kind of medication versus working with the animal as they change, as they get upset by circumstances. Like, might seem like nothing to us to go away, but it's quite
But you
a
have
bit
to have
to
a special.
them.
You have to appreciate that because we are kind of brainwashed to think, just take the pill and it'll go away and everything's really easy. But it really is a work in progress. Always, we're living beings, and so we need to adjust and finally attune things. But you appreciate that. But you know, a lot of people, unfortunately, are so used to wanting to just get this drug and everything will be gone.
Yeah.
So, which is why the animals are dying earlier than they used to. I mean, these dogs should definitely live till 17, 18 years old. They should not be sick and dying at 8 years old.
Great. Well, and you know, I just want to thank you because it helps me to take care of myself better. Well, I've learned